Are you ready to vote in the May 19th primary election? It's kind of an important one, and you can find election information from the League of Women Voters of Portland at vote411.org and at lwvpdx.org. They have explanations of ballot measures, candidate information, video interviews, and even a podcast. Your vote is your voice. Make it count. Visit vote411.org and lwvpdx.org to inform your vote. This is CityCast Portland. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about the latest on the Multnomah Athletic Club bombing and the mayor's proposal to open new grocery stores. Joining me today are Stumptown Savings founder Bryan M. Vance and our very own executive producer, John Notarianni. You guys, thanks for hanging out with me this morning. How's it going?
Hey, good morning, Claudia.
Before we jump into the news, I usually ask an opening question so any new listeners can get to know our guests a little better. And today's opening question is related to the fact that we absolutely annihilated CityCast Denver in that membership campaign. We've signed up 84 new CityCast Portland neighbors. Portland, we actually beat every CityCast show but Salt Lake because they voodoo magic of some sort broke 100. And they're like the size of Lake Oswego is what I think. So I don't know how they did that. I think they signed everybody up. But if you're brand new to the show, last week we were campaigning hard for our membership program. And the thing that somehow really cut through in the messaging was so simple. We're never going to meet our goal. It was like 200 or something. But we can possibly beat Denver. And it really united our listenership. We even got a city councilor who signed up and wrote as a reason for joining was just simply beat Denver. So for sure, we wanted to thank all 84 of you new members for making our Suck at Denver dreams come true. But we also wanted to thank CityCast Denver for weirdly uniting us under the pettiest of banners. So please help me welcome CityCast Denver host Bree Davies to the show, everyone. She's going to be asking our opening question.
Bravo!
Hi.
Bree.
My opening question is, I want to know who the city council person is because I am going to email them a very terse email. I'm kidding.
So in the spirit of reconciliation and being a good neighbor, we're going to switch up the vibe here. Denver is a beautiful, beautiful spot. It's a wonderful city, and Bree is going to ask us about it. Here we go.
Yeah, so I'm going to put the screws to you guys. Name something that you love about Denver or a reason you'd want to visit if you haven't been here yet.
I can actually jump in on this, Bree. I've actually spent a lot of time in Denver over the years. A handful of my best buddies from high school all moved there. So I know Denver pretty well, and I have a lot of love for the city. So I'm going to pick three things, actually.
Okay,
maybe
I'm
four
excited to hear
that
this.
I love.
Okay.
Right off the top, the High Dive and Sputnik on South Broadway is the best local music venue / kind of like hipster bar cafe. It's such a great 1-2 punch. I go to Sputnik
Yes.
every time I'm in town.
So the High Dive opened in 2003, and I was there opening night when the
Oh my gosh.
the Yeah Yeahs DJ'd an after party there.
Oh,
and
wow.
one of my earlier bands, the Hot House, played there quite a bit. And my fun fact is I got 86th from Sputnik, which is next door, as you mentioned, to the High Dive, and I had to play at the High Dive that night, so I had to beg the owners, who owned both at the time, to please let me back in. Because I need to play your venue. And I'm sorry I probably threw a beer at somebody in your adjoining bar.
Amazing. I hope you also have a story of getting kicked out of this bar.
Okay.
Because I want to shout out ESP, which is a listening bar on Santa Fe, which is
bar.
I feel like there's a lot of places that are calling themselves a listening bar, quote unquote, these days. But that place is gorgeous. A beautiful sound system, really curated towards listening to music. I mean, just such a great spot.
So I'm glad you brought this up. This is like the sort of old new Denver situation. I actually quit drinking for the reasons you just heard 20 years ago. So I have not been to ESP, not just because it's a bar, but my husband, again, a huge audiophile, he's a full-time musician and he loves ESP. So if you are a music nerd of any kind, you would love, good call, John, great great recommendation. Great
Such
bar.
a great spot. But my number one favorite spot in Denver, and this is a bit of a story, is Uchi, which is a sushi restaurant.
Yes.
On Lawrence Street. They have locations across the country. But the reason that I love Uchi so much, Brie, you might not even know this, that's where I met my partner.
Oh my gosh. I love a meet cute.
3.5 years ago, when I was in Denver for
up.
the CityCast, like, sort of leadership retreat.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Stayed an extra night, went out, took myself to a nice sushi dinner, and ended up sitting next to the woman who, like, ended up over the course of many years becoming my partner, who now lives with me
Crazy.
here in
Oh
Portland.
my God. Listen, as a Catholic witch, I super believe in these sorts of meetings. And
It goes hand in hand, guys. Come on.
I mean, you can fight me about it. I had a woman in a Witch 101 class try to fight me about it. But I think that is such a beautiful story. And I love that you met. I kind of can't. That's the universe talking, baby.
So yeah, I just thank you, Denver. Thank you, Denver, for changing my life.
Are you sure you guys hate us that much? This is like the most glowing.
Sounds like John
I feel so
loves
proud
Denver.
of our city. All right, Brian, are you going to bring this down a notch or are you going to elevate it? What are you going to do?
I've only been one time. It was that same work trip that John was talking about. I did not stay an extra night, but I really weirdly liked the train station that y'all have downtown. Union Station. I don't know. It's just beautiful. Compared to our Union Station, much nicer experience. So yeah, I would 100% take the train from the airport again to get out of that airport as fast as possible, because I don't know what y'all are drinking, but that airport sucks.
Listen, I'm the resident hater on my team of the airport. I'm not a hater, but it is like, what is it doing in Kansas,
Right, it's
basically? And why do I have to take a train or like a $50 Uber to get to Denver, even though it says it's in Denver, which it is. It was annexed, the area, out in the middle of nowhere. But I will say about Union Station, great call. 15-ish years ago, it was revamped. Before that, it had been extremely neglected. And Denver decided to put a little special tax district money into it and made it the beautiful place that you saw today. So great call. And yes, it is one of our crown jewels. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Well, I've never been to Denver, but Bree, I do.
Excuse me. Weren't you a touring musician?
Right, how?
Excuse me?
And we
I've
just
been to Portland many times because of playing your venues, ma'am.
For some reason, it's not that we skipped Denver. It's just that we were never booked in Denver. It just like
she
never
hates
happened.
Denver.
I know. I was like, wow, where'd you go? Lawrence, Kansas? You were like, oh, SLC, we'll stop there.
We did go to Kansas. They have a great scene. But you know what? They do. You made me love Denver because when I was hired here at CityCast Portland, I was asked to listen to other shows. And a lot of people don't know this, but the original show is Chicago and Denver. Like they have 3 years on us. Mm-hmm. I know there's like a funny petty rivalry that just was created, but I need everyone to know that like Bree Show dog walks us when it comes to listeners. They are the
very
original
engaged audience.
Yes, they are the original show. So I want you to know that I listen to your show a lot, and like you guys made me love Denver. Now I want to go. I want to go.
Someone once called us Atlanta for white people, and I was like,
yeah.
I get that. I don't love it, but I get it. So I don't blame you for never having been here, to be fair, Claudia.
But I'm looking forward to it. And again, Bree, I just appreciate you so much. Seriously.
Well, thank you for having me on this show to talk about how awesome my city is. But I am very proud of you guys because a win for one of our cities is a win for all of us. So good job on your membership drive. I know what a grind it is, and I know how much your listeners appreciate being a part of your community. So hats off to you.
Thank you, Bree.
Thanks,
Thank
Bree.
you.
Yeah,
but let's never forget.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Portland
Let's never forget. I hate you.
Portland is the best.
Oh, man. Well, thank you all for your answers. Bree, thank you for your presence and time. Yeah. We love you. And if you wanted us to possibly beat Salt Lake City, I mean, we're still taking new members. Mm-hmm. Membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. Scroll down, find our little pod icon. Sign up is just $10 a month or $100 a year. I mean, why not? I don't know. But let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, we're jumping into the news.
When the unexpected happens, a serious injury, a catastrophic crash, or even a wrongful death, the impact isn't just personal. It can affect families, neighborhoods, and the safety of our entire community. In those moments, you deserve more than legal help. You deserve advocates committed to making Portland safer for everyone. At Diamore Law Group, you're not just getting a lawyer. You're getting a trial team led by veteran attorney Tom Diamore, who has spent over 30 years holding corporations, negligent drivers, and unsafe institutions accountable. From investigating what went wrong to bringing in experts and taking cases all the way to trial, they do the work it takes to protect their clients and prevent the next tragedy. And you don't pay unless they win. Contact Diamore Law Group at 503-222-6333 or visit Diamore Law to schedule a free consultation. They're here to stand up for individuals and for a safer Portland.
Bryan, you have a pretty interesting story to share. I feel like it's a continuation of our discussion about food deserts in Portland, which I think a lot of people don't understand that we actually have some.
We have quite a few, actually, in Portland, especially east of 205 in East Portland. Yeah, so this story comes from Shane Dixon Kavanaugh in the Oregonian, tucked away in Portland Mayor Keith Wilson's budget proposal that came out a few weeks ago, is a plan to provide up to $100,000 in grants for the creation of new supermarkets or food shops. So, if you wanted to start a new organic grocery store, potentially you could get $100,000 from the city to help you do that. I don't know how far $100,000 would go in an organic grocery store, but this is basically Mayor Wilson's plan to combat what we have seen actually happening for quite a long time, but really recently with the closure of 2 grocery stores in East Portland. Technically, one is still open, but it is closing later this summer. So the Gateway Fred Meyer, very famously closed up shop, leaving a massive hole in that neighborhood. And now the Park Rose Grocery Outlet, the corporation grocery outlet, wants to shutter that store, even though the franchise owner would very much like to keep it as a grocery store. So Mayor Wilson has proposed this. It's important to note that, it's a proposal. City Council would have to approve this. It's not clear that they will. But it's basically part of a new plan that the mayor is calling like a supportive shop plan. So the idea is the city would provide grants, not just for grocery stores, but smaller grants for new restaurants and other sorts of retail businesses. It's unclear as of now who would actually qualify for that. So whether it would be like, local residents wanting to start up shops, or say if Fred Meyer decided they wanted to open a new location, could they qualify for it? Mm-hmm. We don't know. That's to be decided. It's also unclear where they will target this. So is the focus going to be specifically in communities of Portland that have been really underserved? That seems to be the goal, but that would need to be more clearly defined. But it is an intriguing way to try to combat market forces that have been happening within Portland.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. And I feel like it sort of scrambles my small business mindset because, in most circumstances, like I think the thing that's really going to push Portland forward is small businesses, locally owned businesses, et cetera, et cetera. But we do know that these giant supermarkets, which of course are owned by major corporations, are just such an essential resource for people to be able to live full and healthy lives. And it also gets me wondering how far, like $100,000 to launch a store is wonderful and could do a lot of help, but how much does it cost to open a major supermarket? Between construction and stocking it and all of it. These are just numbers based on some quick internet sleuthing, but I'm seeing like between $3 to $6 million to get one of those stores off the ground. So, would it be better to like put $100,000 into like a food co-op or like a small grocery store, like a corner store, like we have in certain places around the community? Or should it really go towards a major supermarket outpost? I'm sort of torn. I don't know how I feel about it.
It is interesting. If you look at the way that it's worded so far, it says supermarket or food shop, which I'd imagine is sort of trying to thread that needle. Is like, okay, are we exclusively wanting to support these like big box grocery retailers, or are we looking for more things like Food Fight, which is this vegan grocery store out in East Portland, like 100 something that, that's a smaller footprint. I'd say is like the size of maybe a Plaid Pantry or a little bit larger than that, but it's an exclusively vegan grocery store. Yeah. That, in my mind, is the kind of thing that this money could help a lot more. And also just like, frankly, if we're going to be putting taxpayer money into supporting businesses, I would personally rather see it go to local residents who are starting businesses versus mega corporations who have already wiped their hands of some of these same communities.
Yeah. I mean, and people experiencing food insecurity. I think that one thing that we've seen really clearly over the last 6 months is because of the changes at a federal level to food stamp benefits. There's a lot of people that aren't able to access fresh food as a consumer, whether a store is there or not. And that number is only growing right now.
Yeah, I want to bring up the fact that New York City Mayor Mamdani has started a nonprofit grocery store chain. He is launching in New York because of this issue right now, is that more and more boroughs were having these food deserts. And I'm curious how much of that inspired our mayor and like how much of that is going to influence this. What I do hope, though, is that there is a lot of intent as to the focus, because it's clear when we think about these food deserts, we do think of certain areas. And the irony is that Portland is so food intensive. Like that is part of our identity is we eat well. So to know that certain neighborhoods don't eat well, it's just a little crushing. We're just like, but you live in Portland. That's the whole point, right? Yeah. So I'm curious, like, how they're going to focus this, where it's going to get focused, and how much they're going to borrow from New York City, if anything. It's a cool idea that the mayor is having in New York City. It's a bigger bite that I think Portland can chew off right now. But I do find it interesting because to me, I'm just like, that seems like a good idea, is to have not like, hey, let's encourage like big box stores to not close, and not to diss like smaller stores, but sometimes they're so niche that they don't really help or serve a full community. They serve just, aspects of it. So like, just a general grocery store where people could just go and grab like a thing, an apple, and it's not $500,
Right.
It's interesting to sort of inject New York into this conversation because I think of the bodega culture that they have in New York, and there's so many corner stores where like, you can get your chips and candy or whatever, but a lot of the corner stores in New York are stocked with good, healthy food as well. Yeah. So you can pop in and get like a snack if you want. I mean, compare it to like what we have with the 7-Elevens that dot Portland, where you have like one moldy banana. Like, and there has been notice as well that a number of 7-Elevens are looking at closing across the city as well. So, obviously it's a question of like the economics of making a store like that work. But like, can you just imagine if we had sort of convenience stores were stocked with like better and healthier food? I think that that's something that would really help all of us.
Absolutely.
For sure. Thank you so much, Bryan, for talking through that. I like this idea. I like where it's going. Hopefully it actually lands. Let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, John has some updates on a pretty troubling story. All right, John, what's going on with the Multnomah Athletic Club bombing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is the story hanging over all of us this week. It's a crazy story, a really frightening story, and a really upsetting one. I do want to say before I get into it, we are going to be discussing suicide and mental health issues. So if you or someone you know might be considering suicide, you can contact the Suicide Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988. I'm mostly leaning on some great reporting by Conrad Wilson at OPB, as well as Noelle Crombie, Beth Slovic, and Isabel Funk at The Oregonian. Here's basically what happened. Early Saturday morning, a man drove a rented car that was full of explosives into the first floor of the Multnomah Athletic Club. If you don't know, that's one of the largest private athletic clubs in the country. It has more than 21,000 members. This person drove the car in, detonated some of the devices, killing himself in the process. The police have confirmed that that man was Bruce Whitman, a former bartender at the club who had been suffering with mental health issues. And investigators say he was fixated on the club and intended to destroy it as part of the suicide. It's worth noting that nobody else was killed and injured in this incident, but still a very frightening incident. Like when the police and fire showed up, there were still undetonated bombs in the building. They said they were very lucky that they didn't actually detonate one of these while they were trying to clean up. The police have said that Whitman acted alone. It was not part of a broader plot. They're not saying that it's an incident of domestic terrorism. But it is a very unsettling story of someone with mental health issues coming into contact with law enforcement and not getting treatment and not being restrained. He'd had run-ins with the police's behavioral health unit for over 5 years, pretty consistently. First back in 2021, was granted a court stalking order for some alarming behavior. The next year ended up being placed in an involuntary hold and also placed under a red flag order, which is the emergency ordinance that passed in 2018 to allow people to have their guns removed because of dangerous behavior. That happened again in 2026, earlier this year. He was hospitalized after attempting suicide and had his guns removed again. And throughout all of this, he had expressed beliefs that the club was orchestrating harassment. He'd made death threats to employees. He had shown up threatening to kill individuals and burn down the club. So his issues were well known throughout the community. Right. But what officials are saying is like the laws are such that this was all they could do. And that while they did remove his guns, warding off potentially a much more, horrible incident, he still was able to commit a major act of violence that we're just lucky didn't hurt anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there's other weapons you can use. And correct me if I'm wrong, John, weren't most of these explosive just things rigged up using like propane tanks and whatnot? So it wasn't even like he went out and got, his hands on C4 or whatever. It's stuff that you can walk into like any hardware store and get.
Yeah. I mean, they said some of them were pipe bombs. I'm less clear on what that is, but there are photos of just the propane tanks that had been in his car slightly charred. And there is footage of him walking into local stores, buying the equipment that he used to make these devices.
It's so scary because he had the wherewithal to go to different stores for different things so they couldn't put together what
to not get flagged.
Oh, when someone has mental health issues or whatever, there's always like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. I'm like, that's a lot of wherewithal. That's a lot of understanding of how not to get caught. But I do find it really interesting that what time was decided, like it almost didn't feel this is a lot of speculation on my part, but like nobody but him got hurt. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
And that
he was
felt
the only person.
Purposeful because no one, when he came in, he worked at this facility, correct?
Right. He'd been a bartender there at one point.
He'd been a bartender there. So if his goal was to somehow harm the facility, like physically, it's what he did. It didn't seem like he did it at a time, and he would know when anybody else was there. And I find that interesting. I mean, not only like we're lucky, but like also just like I'm curious what the thesis was, for him. It almost felt like it was his big out, like that.
Yeah.
If he's not harming anybody else, I'm curious to know what develops there.
Yeah. It occurred at 3 a.m. So clearly a time when the club is not going to be staffed. Although I did see on Reddit somebody saying, I had a friend who used to do overnight maintenance and cleaning there. So it's not like the building was
not like it'd be empty.
Inherently empty. And of course, waiting on a lot more reporting to bear this out. But from what I'm reading in the initial reports, it sounds like his main animus was towards the club itself, that did occasionally spill over to members and staff. But yeah, it does seem like it was the club that he had a fixation with.
Yeah. I am also curious to hear how this is expanding the conversation of involuntary holds and stuff, because I've noticed that it's a thread that's getting picked up. And I'm just curious, like how people are speculating that this could have been prevented, because like it's easy for us to sit here and go, oh, why didn't someone do something? But I'm also just wondering how that is going to expand the conversation since it's been given a platform because of our latest state laws that passed, because of, the issues we see on the street. Like, so I'm just curious how this is going to somehow be intertwined with that conversation. Because at this point, I'm not understanding the main connection. I got to be honest. I'm just like, this seems like a terrible tragedy. I don't understand what people are seeing behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just a lot of chaos to unravel. I mean, this only happened on Saturday. It's now Tuesday. So I'm sure we're going to be learning a lot more as people continue to report on this story. But yeah, I mean, right off, Multnomah County District Attorney Nathan Vasquez has said that the county needs more options for mandatory long-term mental health treatment. So that's one very high-profile voice speaking out about it. Something that I've read is he was involuntarily committed for mental health evaluations twice. And in both circumstances, because of the laws, and I don't understand the nuances here, but what I've read is that because of the laws, he was only able to be held for a short amount of time. And I think that some of the advocates for strengthening these laws are making the argument that it should have been clear that this person was a threat, and that there should have been a legal workaround to be able to hold him longer, to prevent himself from hurting himself or others. But that is also a bit of speculation on my part.
Right. Well, we're going to keep an eye on this story since it is developing as we continue taping this week. Yeah, it's so scary. But also, again, and I hate being like that guy, but I'm just so glad that it wasn't a bigger tragedy. Like I always hate being that person because it's terrible. Someone died and it's a horrific bombing, and it's not something that we're used to here in Portland. This was like, what? Like I remember hearing about it. John, you sent me the text, and I was like, where? Where did
like
this
a
happen?
bombing in Portland? That makes no sense.
Wait, Portland? Like what? And then it's a fancy gym. It's
Very
like the
fancy,
fanciest gym. It's like a country club, you know?
It's a big social club.
So I'm just like, how? So yeah, for sure we're keeping an eye on this. But yeah, thanks for breaking that down, John. Man, what a bummer to end on. So can I bring us back to some good times?
Please do.
Again, my heart goes out to anyone who was affected. This is a terrible thing that happened. But I do just want to remind our listeners that this is the thing about communities, is that we hold strong together. This is why we're trying to build something better. And just in that spirit, I just want to thank our newest CityCast Portland neighbors. This is, by the way, since we did annihilate Denver, this is going to be this sprawled out for the week because we can't just thank, it's like 80-something people. So Nicole N., thank you. Ramona Z., thank you. Exoplanetary Podcast, hey, what up? Awesome. Podcast love. Charles H., Sean P., Roberta R., Paul O., Kelsey B., Allison L., and Kristen P. Thank you so much. Again, if you wanted to join, if you want to beat Salt Lake, I mean, I don't know, we're still going. Hit us up at membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. You'll scroll down, you're going to see our little pod icon, hit us up. It's just $10 a month or $100 a year. It helps this podcast keep going, and you get invited to really cool events. And I think we're still giving away a free gift if you join.
We still got that I Live Here on Purpose Portland pennant. It's an Oxford pennant. It's very sharp. And we've got extras, so we're still giving them away.
Hell yeah. So yeah, hit us up there. Thank you again for everything, you guys. I gotta tell you, doing a campaign, being part of the campaign, it's not that fun, y'all. It sucks to beg for money and for engagement, and it really does make us feel awkward. And you guys made it so much fun. The whole you guys seriously made this kind of funny for us. So we really appreciate you. Thanks for helping us create this community together. We really do. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bryan.
Good to be back.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend, rate, leave us a good review, and don't forget you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Portland neighbor. Again, just visit membership.citycast.fm, get your free gift, support this show. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's. Or I don't know, Denver. I've never been. I hear it's nice.